Hello everyone, Christina Werner here. Welcome to another live crafting video at my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Hello to everyone in the chat. I see lots of familiar names already, so welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here. Sylvia from last week's envelope is here. I've seen Andrea, Linda, Sherry, Lori, Scrappy Cat, of course. Lots of fun talk about very cold weather. Yes, it is very cold, kind of all over the US right now, and probably the entire Northern Hemisphere if I'm thinking about it. But anyway, thanks so much for joining me tonight. For tonight's live stream, I thought I would use, well, specifically, this is what I wanted to use. This is the Just My Type Friend stencil set. It has 4 stencils in it. This is one that I designed, and I have yet to try it out, so I thought let's try this together tonight. And there is a matching die set so that you can cut out the finished greetings once you've stenciled all of the color on. So let's get going. Actually, before we get going, big thank you to all of you who joined the membership here at my channel in the last week. I'm so happy to have you here. The very first member-only live stream is this Wednesday. So if any of you were interested in joining the membership and seeing some of those exclusive live streams, a couple times a month I'll hop on, and basically you guys will be watching me as I create a video for my channel. We can talk back and forth. I can answer some questions, give you a little more detail, and then later I will edit that video footage and put it as a regular video. So those of you who are not members will still see that content at some point. But those who are part of the membership will see it first, and they'll get the opportunity to ask some questions and get some some interaction right away. And for those live streams, I'm going to try to focus them on things that take a little bit more time that normally I wouldn't slow down and spend so much time in a regular video. So things like no line watercoloring, Copic coloring, maybe some lettering on an envelope, something like that. That I can't always do in a regular video. So I hope you guys will join me. There's a link down below in the video description that says join membership, or if you're lucky enough on whatever device you're on, you might see a join button somewhere. Sometimes it doesn't show up. I can't figure out why, but sometimes it won't show up. So anyway, for today's card and envelope, let's get going. I'm going to start by taking out my stencils and get these out here. Like I said, there are 4 stencils. And you know what? When I did the kind of example of these words all together, I loved the color combo. So I just picked out some similar colors. So I've got Wisteria from Simon, Twirling Tutu. Some of these might even be discontinued, I'm not sure. Simon's slowly discontinuing these original ink colors, which makes me so sad because they're my favorite. I've got Cantaloupe, which is one of the newer colors, and then Goldilocks. I thought those were similar shades to what I used on the example of the layering stencils. So I thought, let's just go with that. All right, so for stenciling this, I'm using a stencil mat from Waffle Flower. It has this corner up at the top, and I thought that would be really nice to put the corners of the stencil right up there, and it'll help me get everything positioned just right. When I designed the stencils, I specifically wanted these dots in the corners so you could make sure that everything lines up perfectly. And when I stack these stencils in that top corner, it's great. Everything's lined up. So I'm not even going to worry about having to do anything kind of crazy. I cut out some white. Oh, whoa. Hello. Sorry. I cut out a 6x6 piece of Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound cardstock. This is kind of my go-to all-purpose cardstock. This is the all-purpose flower of the cardstock world for me. So this is kind of like if my card or recipe needs white cardstock, most likely it's going to be this one. So I'm going to put that in that top corner up there. I'm going to take my first stencil, just as the top of each word, and I'll put that down right up there in that top corner. Okay, So according to my example, that first color is yellow. So I'm going to take kind of a smaller yellow brush and the color Goldilocks. Let me get a little something here to hold the ink pad. And I'm gonna start stenciling this on. All right, I'm just gonna kind of go in a circular motion in one way, and then I'll switch which way I'm going as I go back the other direction. And this color is gonna go on really dark, but as it dries, it will lighten. Okay, all in one direction. I have to remind myself, go one direction one way, and then I'll switch and go the other direction. Okay, I'm going back the other direction, going clockwise now. Just getting that area. Okay, lift up that stencil, and there is the beginning of our words. I'll clean off that stencil later. All right, here is the next one. This is going to finish off the hello. Looks like it's not quite lining up, so I'm going to slide it down just a tiny bit. Get that perfect. And our next color is Cantaloupe. Alrighty. Switching to an orange brush. Hello, everyone popping in. Welcome, welcome. All right, I've got this Cantaloupe color. It's very juicy, so I'm going to kind of wiggle it off to the side first. Go in both directions. I'll switch directions and go this other way. You want to switch the way you're kind of swirling your brush so that it gets all the different crevices in the stencil. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go up here and get that little dot up there. I'm going to get these dots so I can get them lined up just right. Might as well use those since we've got them, right? Okay, hello. Didn't want to let up. Okay. Ooh, that bled underneath. Probably because my ink was very juicy. I kind of want to redo that. Let's redo that. Because why not? That's the joy about these stencils. If you mess up, you can always start again. Okay, I think these will fit. Yeah, this will be fine. I just have a 5x7 piece of cardstock here. And we're going to be really careful as we stencil this time. Actually, no, it's going to cut off the bottom. Let me turn it this direction. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. All right, back to Goldilocks. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to get those corners. Basically, I can only get those two. All right, and I'll come in with just a little bit of ink this time. This ink pad isn't as juicy, so it works well. Making sure I get all of those corners and nooks and crannies. Okay. And now we're going to go on to Cantaloupe again, and this time I'm going to make sure to, oh yeah, that lines up better this time too. I'm going to make sure to kind of, I don't know what's the word is. I'm going to get some, like a Post-it note up here, and then I can kind of dab off my brush before I go in. In fact, maybe it might be helpful if I use a bigger brush this time, and I'm going to, okay. Yeah, that's going on a little better. It's not so concentrated with the ink. Making sure I go different rotations. Okay, let's hope this came out better this time. Oh, lots better. Lovely. Terry's asking if there are re-inkers for the older inks. There are not. I have never needed to re-ink them. And I think the only color I've replaced is dull pink over the years. So yeah, I don't think you'll need to re-ink them. All right, let's get this one going. I'm gonna line up my circles, my little dots over here. The next color is Twirling Tutu. It's a nice pink. Switch to my pink blending brush. And I don't think this one's going to be super juicy, but let's just test it. Oh yeah, we're good. Going in both directions. And really, I'm only going to be making one card today, or I planned to only make one card. But since it's so easy to get 2 greetings here, I'm actually going to be doing both. I'm going to make 2 cards, but only 1 envelope today. All right, let's lift up this stencil. Beautiful. And then going on to this last one, once again, I'm going to line up these dots. Those look great. And the last color I'm using is Wisteria. Switching to my purple blending brush. Make sure that's not too juicy. Looks good. I love this color. It's so pretty. So there is kind of another stencil set that's a similar style that was Christmas. I think it said Merry Christmas and Season's Greetings. And that one is Just My Type Christmas. It's a different font, but it's kind of the same idea. Like you've got like the 4 colors for the greeting. Really fun set. Okay, let's lift this up. Oh, that is really cute. I love that. Love it so much. And the colors will kind of dry back a little bit lighter as they dry. So that'll be great. All right, let's go on to the die cutting. So I have the coordinating dies. I'm going to put some of these brushes away before I accidentally get them on things. Okay. So I'm going to use the coordinating dies, and I'm just going to cut out both sets, like both words at the same time. So we've got hello friend. Just got to get that kind of positioned just right. And then the thank you. Get those kind of centered. Oh, hello. Helps if you don't catch it under your nail and move it. Okay, that looks about right. And I'll just run this through my die cutting machine. Okay. I've got my greetings all cut out, super fast and easy. Oh, that turned out so cute. It's so precise. I was worried about if it was going to be a struggle to get the dies lined up just right on that stenciled greeting, but it looks great. Love it. All right, hold on. I'm going to try to clean up my magnetic mat. So one of the reasons why I love my Anna Griffin Empress machine is that I can cut directly into the magnetic mat. I mean, it does wear the magnetic mat faster than if you didn't, but the convenience, oh, that's why I do it. Okay, I'll set this aside for a bit. Okay, and I planned ahead, and I'm going to be using the Hello Friend on my main card. So I've already cut 3 more layers of that out of some 110 pound cardstock. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down. Hello, everyone. Sika, love you, Sika. All right, so I also discovered when I was gluing all these together, the fastest way to do this one, because it's so bold and really thick, was just to go ahead and start putting a bunch of glue down. And it will not, see how much glue I've got there? And it won't squidge out the edges. Okay, so that is a nice thick, she's a thick one, substantial greeting. I'm gonna put my Share Handmade Kindness glass paperweight on top. And then for this one, you know, I didn't even think to die cut that multiple times. So maybe we'll just put some foam tape on the back of that one just to show a different way to adhere it. All right, while that is figuring itself out, I'm going to do a little bit of a colorful pattern on the rest of the card. So I have this background stamp. This is the Flower Burst background stamp from Simon Says Stamp. I used this on a holiday card during the holiday card series, and I turned it into like a Christmas card. But today's going to be more of like a friend, almost Valentine's Day card. So I went ahead and I stamped it and heat embossed it with gold embossing powder. I used the gilded color from Brutus Monroe, and I thought I would just use the same colors that I used for the greeting to kind of just blend on some color. I'm going to go back to my stencil mat, might as well, and I'm going to use those same colors. Now I'm planning to have just like one band at the bottom of the card, and since I'm doing 2 cards, well, actually, I think I'll probably do it this way. So I have a little bit of a larger section to work with, and then I can use that top section too. So I'm going to focus on making sure I get all 4 colors along the bottom here and all 4 along the top. That is the plan. I just wanted to like maximize what I'm doing, right? So I'm going to start with Goldilocks. I'm going to turn this way and get this corner. And I'm just going to start blending in from this side here. I'll turn it and I'll get the other corner. So I like to watch out for products that are going to really lend themselves to making multiples of the same card. For example, that stencil set today, it did 2 greetings at the same time. So I'm just going to go ahead and make 2 cards at the same time. I'll do that quite a bit. Or if, let's say I'm doing like a bunch of like layering stamping, and it's kind of tedious to do all the stamping, I'm going to go ahead and just take the paper out of my MISTI, put another one in, and do it again since I've already got it on my MISTI. So that's what I like to do. Okay, so I'm coming in with Cantaloupe, and this is going to blend into that yellow. I'm thinking ahead that I'm going to be blending the pink kind of in this section, so I want a little bit of the cantaloupe to go up into that section. Getting that orange on there. Okay. And now I'm going to go on to the pink color, which was Twirling Tutu. Okay, and I'm going to, like I mentioned, I'm going to have an overlap into the orange a little bit. And then it's also going to kind of extend a little bit past that area so that I can get a little bit of the purple once I put that down. Bringing that pink down there too. The gold embossing resists any of the ink, so once I'm done doing my ink blending, I'll actually take a paper towel and wipe off the gold embossing just to make sure that there's no inks like hanging around. All right, and then on to Wisteria, which is the last color. I'll grab my large purple blending brush. In fact, maybe I'll just turn it right here since I'm right-handed. And I'm going to bring in this purple on this side. I love how that blends. What a pretty color combo. So I think I saw, I think it was Terrence in the comments said he would never think to put these colors together. And so I wanted to like give you guys a little bit of a behind the scenes on why I pick these colors and why I put them in this order. I knew I would be, well, for one thing, it was the order that was on the example on the packaging, right? But also when it comes to blending, I picked colors that would be next to each other on the color wheel. So yellow into orange, that I knew that would be a really great blend. Orange to pink or red, knew that would be a really great blend too. And then pink to purple or red to purple. Those are next to each other on the color wheel as well. So I knew those would blend well together. Now, you don't have to have colors that are next to each other on the color wheel in order for it to look nice and blend together. Ink blending with blending brushes like this is very forgiving, and you can really almost blend any two colors together. Whether they look good together is another question, but you really can blend almost anything together. All right, I'm going to get a little more over into that area. Perfect. Okay. I love these. I probably wouldn't have ever thought to blend these together either if I hadn't done it on the stencil. Okay, I'm taking a paper towel, and I've got a little bit of pink on there from something else, but I'm just going to rub this over the top, and it's going to pick up any of that ink that might be on the embossing. You can see it kind of picked up some stuff right there. Just cleans it up a little. Okay, so now I have this really pretty gold embossed background, and I'm going to, well, for one thing, this is going to go on top. How cute is that going to be? Okay, I'm going to cut this down to like some smaller strips so that I can put it on my card. Got my paper trimmer here. And the first thing I'm going to do is cut it to 5.5 square so that it's all the right width for my card. And it'll take off any of the, you know, where it ends. It'll take off all the edges. So this is going to be 5.5 square. Okay. All right, so I want to get this band and this band up here. I'm thinking, let's see, I'm gonna get a card front. And if I'm putting my greeting right in the center, and I kind of want this to be about right there. I want it to be about that wide. How wide is that? That's about 1.5 inches, maybe a little bigger than that. Alrighty, so to 4.5 would be 1 inch, 1.5 inches. Let's go to right there. Yeah. All right, so now I've got this finished strip that I'm going to put on my card. I'm going to turn this around, and you know what? Really, I could use almost every section of this. I love it so much. Okay, so 1 inch would be to right there. 1/2 inch would be to right there, and then I'm going 1 more 1/8. Okay. So now I have 2 strips for my 2 cards. And this right here is actually really pretty. I could probably get a 3rd card out of it. So I'm going to set that aside. Okay. The next thing I had planned was to add a little bit more gold to my card in just like a little scallop edge above this pattern right here. Just a little gold scallop edge just to kind of finish that off. So I have my gold matte cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, and then I've never used this die set. I don't even know if it's still available. I'm really hoping so because it's going to be a great way to use it today. The Slimline Scallop Frame. And obviously this is not a slimline card, but I'm going to use the largest frame, and then I can get 2 scalloped borders for my card. And they'll be perfectly straight when they're cut. And then I can also kind of save these other pieces for later. Now, my cutting plate here is really messed up and marred. So I'm actually going to use the clean cutting plate. This is cut on the other side. And I'll do that right there. And now when I run it through my die cutting machine, all of the gold will not have any marks in it. Just run that through. Okay, lovely. Oh, that edge is really cute too. Lots of pieces I could save from this. All right, so now I have 2 little scallop borders for each card. And I didn't waste a ton of gold cutting it out. I can save this for something else. And there's also these other 2 strips that I could use for something. Kind of fun. I didn't even think about having other negatives left over, but that totally works. Could have used this smaller one too. All right. Oh, thank you, Rosie, for checking on that. Okay, I think that's all the die cutting I'm doing today. So I'm going to put all that aside. And let's assemble the cards. Hold on 1 minute. I need 1 more card base. There we go. All right, I'm going to be using a Tombow Extreme adhesive to put this all together. I'm first going to adhere the stamped and embossed and ink blended, almost like patterned paper, at the bottom of the card. Let's see. This one's a top folding card. Just right on that edge. Actually, yeah, you know, that'll work. I was thinking maybe I want to put the gold down first, but I like the width of that gold border, so I'm going to put it just like that. For this one, I'm going to use my liquid glue just because it's going to be a little too finicky to get in there with such a thin border. And I'll just do a little liquid glue. Maybe add a little dot of glue on each little scallop. And then press that down onto the card. And if it hangs off the edge, I can just use scissors to lop off that end. All right, my other card base that I happened to grab is a side folding card. So here we are. Although, let me see, could the thank you go this way? Oh, it totally could. Maybe we'll change this one up. And we'll, no, we'd lose the color. We'll go this way. Using my tape runner adhesive. All right, and we'll put this down. You know, let's rotate it this time. Why not? We'll have it. Actually, no, we will go this way. I like the yellow on the side. Okay. Just to show there's different ways to adhere it, I'm going to put my glue on my card base. that glue right there. Then I can just put my border down right on top. Press that down. And before I adhere the greeting, I'm going to take my scissors and just cut off this end here that's past the edge of the card. And I'll do it on this one too. Okay. So the hello friend's going to go right over here. And then the thank you is going to go right here. I think it would also be really cute if you did like a polka dot pattern on the top here. I think that could be really, really cute. But we're going to keep it plain for now. For this one, it would be so much easier just to stack the die cuts, right? I guess I could also just adhere it straight down. And it would be kind of a one layer card. I could totally do that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just adhere it straight down. All right. This is another tip for you. When you're going to be placing your die cut with tweezers, go ahead and put the tweezer on exactly how you want it for when you place it, and then flip it over and add your glue from there. So I'm just going to add some squiggles of glue. Okay. And then I'll be placing it right there. And I'll put my paperweight right on top again. Okay. Close up my glue. And now we're going to go on to the envelope. Just kidding. We have to glue the other one on first. It was just sitting there and I thought it was already here. Doesn't exactly work that way, Christina. Okay. Add the glue to the back of this one. Okay. Then adhere that down right there. Thankfully, I have two paperweights, so we'll put both of those on. Okay. Oh, Kathleen says the tops of the cards would look awesome dry embossed. Yes, I should have done that. I didn't even think about it. That would have looked awesome. Just to add a little texture. Okay. So while those are chilling, I'm going to start on my envelope. So I actually already made my envelope. I used the We Are Memory Keepers 123 punch board, and I created an A2 envelope out of some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound cardstock. So that is the same cardstock I've been using all along, my all-purpose flower cardstock. And I did that so that everything would match, so that the envelope would take the ink exactly as I expect it to. I've tried some different white envelopes over the years, and they just don't take ink like a nice cardstock for a card would. So that's really what was bugged me. So I just decided to go ahead and make my own card. And the 80-pound cardstock is not too thick that it adds too much weight or bulk. It works out really great. So I've already created it, and I folded up the bottom flap, added a little bit of Lawn Fawn sticky tape, and then the envelope's ready to go. So what I was thinking for the envelope is we're going to go back to that flower stamp, and this time we're going to do some multicolor stamping. So we're getting a bunch of techniques on this card and envelope today. All right, I'm going to move these cards out of the way. They're probably fine now, actually. Let's just get rid of the paperweights. Yeah, these are all good now. Everything's adhered. They're looking great. I'll just set the cards aside, and we're going to start stamping on our envelope. Now I'm using a background stamp, so I've removed the thick pad in my MISTI. And then I'm going to take my envelope and I'm going to put it on one of these sticky mats inside my MISTI. And that's so that I can really see where I'm stamping on this envelope. So I'm going to put it right there. Now, the width of the envelope is wider than the background stamp, unfortunately. So I am going to have to make sure I have it centered before I do all of my stamping. And I'm also going to remove that center from the stamp. And I'm just going to try to get it as centered as, you know, the best that I can. And it's just not going to go all the way to the edge. But as long as it's pretty centered, it should be okay. Should be nice. Wolf Dark Eyes Moon Water. That's a very interesting username. Asks, new viewer here, what's up with the paperweight? This is just a paperweight that Jennifer McGuire came out with. Generally in the past, when I needed to use, you know, like stack something heavy on top of some die cuts that are drying, I would have just stacked some acrylic blocks. The paperweight is just a really convenient thing to use on top. And her kind of slogan or kind of sentence that she uses is share handmade kindness. So it's just one that I have in my crafting area. But you could use acrylic blocks, you could use books, just anything kind of heavy. All right, so there's my flowers. And I put down my magnet so it holds my envelope in place. Okay, hold on. I wasn't even thinking about the center area, but that's okay. The way we're going to be stamping this today is I'm trying to avoid the edges of the flowers. I want the main area of the envelope to be free from any stamping at all. So I'm going to do this in a very strategic way. I'm going to start with the yellow shade first, and I'm just going to kind of ink up kind of like one corner. And I'm not even going to worry about blending it out. I want it to just sort of end. See how that just kind of fades off? Okay, so that was the yellow. In fact, you know what? Maybe I'll do it in the opposite corner too. I'll just bring in some yellow ink, kind of similar to what we did with the ink blending. Just that corner. All right, so now I've got just those two corners. I'm gonna go to the cantaloupe, and I can kind of see this middle flower right here is kind of like where I might want to transition a little bit. So I'm gonna bring in that cantaloupe. This is gonna be really juicy now that I think about it. Same thing over here. This flower right here is right here, so I know I can just bring in just a little bit of that cantaloupe. And hopefully it's not too dark. I think that's going to be great. Okay, a little bit of that cantaloupe color. Now I'm going to come in with Twirling Tutu. I'm not even bothering cleaning off my stamp. Frankly, it's going to kind of blend the colors a little bit, so it'll work to our advantage. All right, so this kind of transition right here is kind of where I'm thinking I'll go into the pink. And up here, kind of right in the center there, I'll just start to get that pink. All right, we'll stamp that. Get a little bit of that pink transition. And then onto the wisteria. So the last corner, and I think I'm going to have the pink be a good transition between the top and bottom. So I'm not going to worry about, you know, finish linking that up. Okay. Those last two corners, get that purple, perfect. And then I'm going to use the pink to kind of get those two to meet. Perfect. Okay, so now I have the center area for the address. I'm going to clean off my stamp real quick. Just using a baby wipe, cleaning off my stamp. And then we're going to do some ink blending over the top of that stamping because I really want those colors to come through, and I think it'll look really, really pretty, especially in combination with the card. All right. Also, when I put my background stamps back into the packaging, you know, before I, put it in a pocket and labeled it, I like to remake that sandwich with the card in the packaging, and then it makes it super easy to slide back in. Okay. So this is the other tip for you that I thought of while I was kind of prepping things. I always struggle getting the little plastic sheet from the sticky mat back in the right spot. And I thought, duh, put it back in the MISTI, and then you can line up that corner and it goes on right away. I don't know why I never thought to do that, but for some reason today it just made sense. Okay. We're going to go back to, actually, I'm just going to grab a piece of paper. And we're going to do our ink blending using the same colors on the envelope. Keeping that center area free, kind of like I did on that background I did earlier. Alrighty, coming back to my yellow blending brush, and I'm going to do the same color placement as what I did for my stamping. So I'm going to do yellow in the corners. And then I'll move on to the cantaloupe. My orange shade. One of the reasons why I wanted to blend on top of this kind of scratch paper is because the paper will absorb the ink right away, and then I'm not going to get any ink on the back of my envelope transferring. If I was using the stencil mat, there is a possibility of the ink kind of sitting on top of the stencil mat, on top of that kind of silicone texture, and then it would transfer to the underside, and I don't want that. So just to keep everything clean, I'm blending on top of some paper. All right, so I've got a few different sections of Twirling Tutu to do. Put these blending brushes back first. Then I'll grab my pink blending brush. Just start to do that pink right there, and I'm also going to do pink right there. All right. Okay, and then I've just got those purple sections in the corners. Okay. I think you could have easily done this type of thing for the pattern paper that was on the envelope as well. Or, you know, you could have done the opposite. You could have done the gold embossing on the envelope and then, you know, just different ways to use the background stamp. Another thing you could do is if you were using, you know, you could do like the gold embossing and then do watercolor over the top. And you could do that with your ink pads by smushing the ink pad on a slick surface and then picking it up with a wet brush. I think that could be really, really cool looking too. All right, so there is the envelope, almost completely finished. And we are doing so good on time. I'm going to use, I thought this color would go really nice with what's going on here. And then I've got my little 37 stamp. Just because, well, it looks good, but also this is kind of thick. I don't think it's going to be too thick, but it's a little rigid. So, okay, so we're going to put the little tulip stamp. Let's make sure I'm doing the right. See, I had it upside down. I'm glad I checked. So we're going to do, let's see. Yeah. Tulip stamp right there. I've got my little I love yous. I could also put that one in too if I wanted. I don't think I will. I'll just stick with this one. These were stamps that were out on my desk from earlier mail art envelopes for mail art month. And now let's pick just one more little stamp to go right there. Let's see here. Something vintage. So I'm going to grab my postage stamp book. Maybe like a orange or a purple. I think that could be great. Okay, so this is most all of my vintage stamps by color. So starts with red and then goes into the orangey shades. So something like this could look kind of neat. It kind of goes in with the colors, right? I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. That could be a good option. Ooh, that could be fun. Brings in a little bit of that purple. Let's see here. Now we're getting kind of into yellow, which I love. And yellow stamps are hard to come by because, as you can imagine, they're not printing a lot of stuff straight in yellow. So, okay, have a little random page of red into the greens. We don't have any green, so let's skip ahead to purple. And my purple section is not very big, but I do love it. Okay, ooh, that could be really pretty. It's a little too dark. Okay, more of a pale purple. It's going right up into this purple corner, so I'm thinking no purple. If anything, if I've got something that's pinkish, that would be great. I'm thinking that peachy one was the best one, and it was kind of the right peach section too. Okay, let's see. What about a flamingo? No. It stands out too much. Although I love that flamingo stamp. All right. I think that peachy one is the winner. This historic preservation. I think that just looks great. I'm going to go with that. People keep saying the yellow butterfly. I'll try. You're talking about this one down here? Oh, you can't even see it. Probably wasn't. It was probably this one. Okay. All right. It's either that one or this one. Metropolitan Opera. Nope, that's the wrong color. That will not work. Yeah, I think I'm going to do the This color just matches so well. Yeah, I'm going to do the historic preservation. That's what I've got quite a few of those, and that's one of those stamps where I'm like, you'd have to have just the perfect envelope to make it match, you know? So I should use it while I can. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to use, do I have a glue stick out? I don't know that I do. So Where are my paper towels? My paper towels have walked off. Oh, there they are. Okay, so when I'm doing stamps that aren't stickers, a lot of times I'll either use a wet sponge or even like a wet water brush. I'm just going to take a paper towel, spray it with water until it's pretty wet. And then I just press the stamp into the damp paper towel, and that dampens it enough to make it sticky. And then I can put it directly down onto my card. You can also use a glue stick or anything like that. Okay, all of the inks I used on the envelope are waterproof except for that Cantaloupe ink, which was water reactive. Like these, the original Simon inks are waterproof once they're dry, but this is not. So that means after I have the address on, I will need to do some Distress Microglaze. In the meantime, today's address that I've selected, and this was the person, it was the very last mail art address submission right before I went live, maybe by like 10 or 15 minutes because, you know, I had to write it down while I was prepping. So Jennifer Shock or Shoke, I'm not sure how she says her name, but that's the one we're doing today. All right, I've got my black pen here, and I'm just going to do really simple lettering because there's a lot going on around it. So let's see here. I think maybe her first name all in caps would be great. First of all, I'm just going to check something. Sometimes if you add a little bit of pencil over like an inked area, for whatever reason you can't erase it. So I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of pencil right there. I'm going to see if I can erase it. Where'd my eraser go? Y'all, if you could see my desk, it is atrocious. Here we go. Okay, looks like I can still erase it. So I'm going to go ahead and draw on some lines. Okay. I think I want that lower actually. Yeah, I do. Okay, we'll do that one right there, and then we'll put the last part down here at the bottom. Okay. Oh, it's Scrappy Cat. I didn't know that was you. That's awesome. Yes, it's pronounced shock. Awesome. Yay. Or maybe Scrappy Cat just knows how it's pronounced. I don't know. Okay. Make sure I get my pen working. And I'm going to do tall, skinny letters, just as like a style. Once again, sorry for being quiet. I'm just trying to make sure I don't have a typo. Is it still a typo if it's not typed? Okay. And then I'm noticing that that takes up just about as much space as up here, but not quite. It's a little stretched out a little bit, so I'll just make it a little shorter. Okay. All right. I'll do a quick return address on the other side. I'm not going to do it in any special way, just quickly in caps. Sophie! Hey, Soph! Oh, she is sounding unhappy. Sophie! Okay. And I'm going to come in and erase all of the pencil lines. Clean all that up. And we're almost done. Just have to do the Distress Microglaze. So, Distress Microglaze is a way to help protect your envelope. It won't completely save it if it gets dropped into a bucket of water, but it will actually do quite a bit for making sure that the ink doesn't smudge or smear. Okay, so I use a mini round blending tool just to grab the Distress Glaze. And then as I apply it, I'm going to purposely avoid the stamps because it adds a slick surface. That's what kind of protects it from moisture. And the post office will still need to cancel those stamps. So they need to have, you know, have it not be slick when they do that. Okay. And the pen that I used, unfortunately, is discontinued or no longer sold, but it's waterproof, so I didn't need to worry about doing that on the back. So I'm going to take a paper towel after I've applied the glaze, and I'm just going to buff that in, and that really protects everything. All of the stamping and ink blending. All right. So here we go. There is the card and envelope for today. Very kind of different looks using the same stamp, same colors, and you've also got that kind of stenciled greeting on there too. Super fun. Love how the stamps look on that. Okay. People in the comments, is Sophie okay? Yeah, Soph's good. My husband went down to check on her because that was kind of a weird meow. You never know. As they're getting older, they do some really strange meows. And you just don't know, like, are they about to like lose their dinner or did they injure themselves? You don't know. So you have to go check on them. But anyway, so here are the two pieces I did today, the envelope and the card. I'm going to do a quick little outro for those who watch the edited replay tomorrow when it's up, and then we'll chat a little bit here with all the live chatters, live chat. So here we go. So here are the finished card and envelope pieces for today. I love how this turned out. This was a great example of how to use that background stamp in different ways, both with ink blending, but with a different look, with the multicolor stamping and then the gold embossing over here. Same colors used for the greeting with that stencil set. That was a lot of fun too. I hope you guys picked up a lot of great tips to use for your crafting in the future. Just a reminder that I'm going to be doing a mail call tomorrow afternoon. I finally picked a time. I'm going to do it tomorrow afternoon. I think I'll do it at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. So if you want to come back for the live mail call for December, I'm so sorry it's so late in the month, but just had lots of stuff going on. So we'll do mail call tomorrow, and then I'll be back on Wednesday with another envelope for Mail Art Month. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you guys next time. Okay, so here we are. We're at the after party. Like I said in that outro, the mail call video, the live mail call, will be tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon, actually. Tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. So I hope you guys will join. I'll go ahead and schedule that as soon as possible so you know where it's at. But anyway, perfect. Cool, cool. If you guys see questions, oh, we have one from Kathleen, who is a supporter. Thank you so much, Kathleen. She asks, let's see here. Do you die cut on both sides of your magnetic sheet? You know what? I've never thought to do that. You probably could. I don't see why not. I've never done it though. No clue. Rosie said, oh wow, that's really small. Let's make that bigger. Rosie said, you used microglaze today, but the other day you sprayed an envelope with something. How do you decide to spray versus microglaze, and what spray did you use? So normally I will always do microglaze. It's the easiest one to do. You don't have to go outside to do it. You don't need a well-ventilated area. It works great. But on an envelope last week, I had used some Yuli watercolors, some very shimmery watercolor paints. And sometimes if you don't kind of seal those or do something to them, when you rub them, you get a lot of shimmer on your fingertips. And so I remembered that I'd used that same type of paint on a card for my holiday card series, and I had sprayed it with, it was a Krylon acrylic spray. I don't have it up here, but it was linked if you want to link to go back and see that one. But it basically just seals everything off and makes it a little bit more water resistant. I don't know if it's like super water resistant. I mean, it does reduce the amount of shimmer that comes off when you rub your fingers over the top, but I don't know that it really like sealed it off as much as microglaze would. But I chose to do that one instead of microglaze because I know with microglaze, if you put it over like super sparkly, shimmery things, it will take some of that shimmer off. So I was just trying to prevent taking the shimmer off. Yeah. Kathy's asking, where can we buy the stencils from tonight's card? They are available over at simonstamp.com. I'll add links, you know, right when I'm done here, I'll take photos of the card and envelope, and then I'll add a full supply list. Paul's asking where the die cut, that for the stencil set is the same thing over at Simon Says Stamp. The olive one, that is. Die cut. The olive. I don't know what you're referring to. Clear that up for me. I'll answer your question. What? Molly says it's not magnetic on the back side of the magnetic Empress mat. No way. Let's check this. All right, I'm gonna get out a die. All right, that is most definitely magnetic there. It's still a magnet. I can tell it's not quite as strong. but it's still a magnet. But I think Molly's right. It's not as strong as the one side. That would be a reason to only use the one side. Okay. Let's see here. Tammy asks, if I buy 6.5 by 4.5 rigid mailers from Amazon, can I put them in a regular blue mailbox, assuming I put the right postage in it, or do I have to bring it inside? I think it really depends on how rigid it is. If it's like, I have some mailers that are just like a thin, really thin cardboard. They still have a little bit of flexibility to them. I've had no issue mailing those and just putting some regular postage on them and put them in the mailbox. If you have something that's really, really rigid, I think you can still put it in the regular mailbox, but you're probably going to need a little bit more postage. So I would say the first time you mail them, take it into the post office, ask someone there what additional postage you would need, and then go from there. They might say, oh, these are small enough, it's fine. Just go ahead and put your postage on. Like, they might say that it's fine. I'm not sure. But just to be safe, I would go in. Okay. Heather asks, how come your product doesn't get branded by Simon like CZ Design? I've been designing for Simon a whole lot longer than Kathy has. And when I started, I was a full-time employee for Simon. So I was just, designing for them as an employee. I now do freelance, but we just continued with the same setup. Maybe someday I might have my own like business name on my products, but currently it's all under the Simon umbrella, which I'm totally cool with. Let's see here. Any Karen marker or Copic coloring videos coming up? Still trying to master them both. Well, I was planning to do some coloring coming up. I was going to do, I think I was doing no line. What was I? Let me look it up. For my premium members, I'm doing some, I think it's no line coloring this Wednesday. Hold on. La la la. Okay. No line watercoloring will be in Friday's video. So, yeah, that's what I have planned so far. But, yeah, maybe some more Karen markers or some Copics. Who knows? Mama Elephant just had a release come out today, and it is super cute, and I really want to use it. And with their stamps, I like to do a lot of Copic coloring, so might do some Copics there. Yeah. Let's see. Would you ever catalog your items you created with Simon? Oh, it would take so long to go through and pick them all out. I know for a while there, Simon was adding a tag like onto the products that were mine. They'd put my name on it so that if you searched my name at Simon Says Stamp, it would come up with the products. But I don't think they've kept up with that. Yeah, I don't know. Karina says, how much do I love Mail Art Month? I'm hoping a lot because the month is not over yet. We're only halfway through. We got lots more to do. Let's see here. I'm looking for other questions. Let's see here. Scrappy Cat, who, if you guys missed it, she's Jennifer. It's on the envelope. She says she can't wait to receive it. I probably won't mail it for a little bit because I want to keep all the envelopes I've done for the month and then get a photo of all of them together. So I'll mail them at the end of the month. So you won't get it for a little bit, just so you know. Okay. Yes, Nicole, I have one of these, but I always forget to use it. You can use a centering ruler or a centering grid to help you with your centering. It's a great tool. Yes, absolutely. Let's see here. And then Rosie says, how do you get your address so centered? It's a lot of thinking in my mind, okay, how long is this name? How big am I going to write it? And kind of okay, this is about how much space it's going to take. Okay, I've got to work it over here, that type of thing. There's something on the bottom of that card. I don't know. It was just something on the envelope. And practice. Yeah, probably practice. Let's see her. Scrolling back down to catch other questions. Let's see her. Oh, Rosie, you're talking about the microglaze versus the spray. That makes sense. Oh my goodness, my jaw hit the floor when I first used them. Yes. Aren't they amazing? I love them so much. Oh, the gold looks olive on screen. Oh, yeah, the die cut. Yes. This was the Slimline, where did they go? Slimline scallop frame dies from Simon Says Stamp. So it's actually the whole border, but I just used a segment of it for the card. Okay. And I believe Andrea looked it up and it is still available. So that's good. And I'll put a supply list in the video description when I'm done here. Sometimes I have everything planned far enough in advance that I can like do my supply list before I go live. But today I did not. So I'm going to have to add that after. Okay. Sadly, this pen / marker, it was an envelope addressing pen, or it is one from Pilot. They don't sell them anymore. I don't know why. I wish they'd bring them back. It makes me really sad. I'm kind of hoarding the ones that I have, and a really fabulous card maker knew that I loved them, and she had bought a ton right before they discontinued them. So she sent a bunch to me, and I'm using all the ones she sent me. So sadly, it's not available. I did find one that's sort of a dupe for it, and it sometimes sells out and it's hard to come by, but it's the Pilot multi-ball. I think it's bold, multi-ball, bold, I think. You could check over at jetpens.com, but sadly, this pen is discontinued. I really should just like not use it because people ask and then I feel bad. Let's see here. Oh, found in words. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being a supporter. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, Rosie got to it right before I did. Pilot multi-ball is similar. Yes, it's true. Vicky says, never heard of Mail Art Month until this live. Where can I catch previous lives of it? So I think this is only my second one this month. I started it last week. Was that last week or the week before? I can't remember. But I'm doing Mail Art Month in lives and edited videos all month long. So for all of my videos and lives in January, there will be a card and an envelope in every video. And I don't always do that throughout the year just because they take a little longer to film and also edit because it's basically like two different designs, but Mail Art Month is fun. All right, I'm going to wrap this up so I can get going here on getting that supply list added for y'all. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. And if you want to come back for another live tomorrow, we're opening the mail, all the cards you sent me in December. So come back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Mountain Time and you can join in and see all those cards. I think the theme was blue cards. So cards with the color blue. I think that's right. So come back and come and see it. Terry says, odd question. I won a mail art last year and won't enter again, but I would love to enter in your other giveaways. Is that okay? Yes, absolutely. Mail art submissions is its own Google form. When I do another giveaway, there will be a separate Google form and you're more than welcome to enter in for those. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining me, y'all. I will see you tomorrow for mail call. Thanks for joining me and I'll catch you guys next time.